Big changes are ahead for Delawareans enrolled in Medicaid. Hello and welcome to DETV News. I'm Matt Ford. Thanks for being with us. The Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023 is making waves for Americans enrolled in state and federal assistance programs such as Medicaid and supplemental nutrition assistance. The latest change comes in the form of Medicaid renewal, which has been happening automatically since the onset of the COVID pandemic. Medicaid renewals begin on April 1st of this year. Roughly 315,000 Delawareans are enrolled in Medicaid. That's up from about 250,000 in April of 2020. Many of these enrollees have never gone through a renewal. Nationally, between 5 and 12% of Medicaid users may lose coverage during this renewal process. Here in Delaware, that translates to 40,000 to 60,000 people potentially losing their Medicaid coverage. So, what's going to happen next? Delaware Health and Social Services is going to mail a pre-filled renewal form to every recipient or household in the state. And their ask is that recipients confirm that it's true or tell them how it's different and simply send it back. Now, in order for Delaware Health and Social Services to send this renewal form, people must make sure all contact information on file is updated and correct. The renewal form can be completed online through the Client Assist self-service account, or physical forms can be returned by mail, fax, or in person. More details on these changes can be found online at de.gov/Medicaid renewals. Insurance Commissioner Trinidad Navarro told Delaware's Healthcare Commission last week many dropped from Medicaid will hurry to find a new health insurance plan, leaving them vulnerable to scams. Delaware Health and Social Services and medical care providers plan to use as many forms of communication as possible to inform patients about the reviews and gather the necessary information to confirm their eligibility. DHSS notes that unless a person is part of a group that's considered especially difficult to reach, such as those in nursing homes, for instance, it will disenroll them if they do not receive the responses. This is part of the so-called unwinding of the pandemic-era Medicaid coverage, and it will continue through much of 2024. Federal rules prohibit states from disenrolling more than 1/9 of the population at once. So Delaware Health and Social Services will begin by reviewing those who have gone years without a reevaluation of their eligibility. That means those who have applied for Medicaid more recently will be the last ones to be reviewed. In other news, they've been called the Hollywood weight loss drugs, and now Delaware will cover the new weight loss medications for state employees. The Delaware State Employee Benefit Committee unanimously approved a plan that would include the drugs as part of a program that includes utilization management and behavior modification programs. Adding the drugs to state and employee retiree health plans will cost an extra $1.8 million. The drugs, under the brand names of Victoza, Saxenda, Ozempic, and Wegovy, have become a nationwide sensation. Many started as drugs to help diabetics lower their blood sugar, but were so effective and popular that they've been approved for weight loss alone. The utilization management program will require previous participation in a weight management program as well as use of a reduced calorie diet and exercise. No word on when this effect will take place for the Delaware State Employee Benefit Plan. Switching gears now, the deadline for people to file to run for the May 9th school board elections has come and gone, but it may take weeks until the final list of candidates is published. And here's why. A 2021 law that requires school board candidates to complete a criminal background check and a child registry check, those must be completed before candidates' names can be posted on the Department of Elections website. So rather than listing pending for candidates who are waiting on their checks to be completed, the state's election page omits them. School board seats have 4-year terms and are staggered so members aren't running all at once. Last year, 42 people ran for school district board seats in the state. The final list of candidates may not be available for several weeks, and this may cause an issue as the campaign window only has until May 9th. For more information on the candidates, you can head to elections.delaware.gov. Turning to health news now, the need for blood is constant, but the supply is not. This comes as the Blood Bank of Delmarva declares the first blood emergency of 2023. They say this is due to many things, such as the time of year. During the cold months, people donating blood usually slows down. Officials say only 62% of the population is eligible to donate. However, 3% only roll up their sleeves. So what's making matters worse? The blood bank says the community blood drives, whether they be at businesses, schools, or places of worship, are actually down 38%. If you're able to donate blood, you can get more information by visiting their website. In other health news, a tool used to help Delawareans spend their money wisely in health care is getting a needed upgrade. The original version of CostAware looked at procedures in hospitals. Now, CostAware 2.0 will be naming hospitals and accountable care organizations along with their costs. Health officials say it's a useful tool that helps many balance their budgets. Adding to this upgrade, the system will better educate Delawareans as to where their dollars are going. The Delaware Department of Health and Social Services says this will also help policymakers with cost containment and other issues relating to the cost of health care in the first state. You can learn more at costaware.dhss.delaware.gov. To Dover now, where Delaware State University's Safe Space Coalition has received a $300,000 grant from the National Organization of Sisters of Color Ending Sexual Assault. The grant is part of the Building the Capacity of Black Programs funding initiative addressing sexual assault and will be used to develop a dedicated sexual assault response and prevention program on campus. The Safe Space project will include a part-time licensed mental health professional and coordinator who will provide culturally specific prevention and advocacy for victims and survivors of sexual assault. This grant funding will provide both a physical space and a supportive and safe space for survivors, allies, and wellness professionals to engage the work of healing and restoration. DSU officials hope that the program will encourage other universities to create similar programs to address sexual assault on their campuses. An indispensable resource for the region, Easter Seals Delaware and Maryland's Eastern Shore is celebrating 75 years of creating an inclusive community for local children and adults with disabilities, seniors, and their families. Though early services focus solely on children's therapy services, Easter Seals has expanded over the years to meet the needs of adults with disabilities and seniors through innovative services to ensure that they have equal opportunities to live, learn, work, and play in their communities. And just this week, a ribbon-cutting event took place where Easter Seals expanded their adult day program to Smyrna. The site will host day services for seniors, veterans, and adults with disabilities. For more information about Easter Seals adult daycare services, you can call 302-324-4444 or email contact@esdel.org. And if you're going to be out and about this Thursday evening, be sure to stop by Kelly's Logan House in Trolley Square between 5 and 8 p.m. for a happy hour. Leadership Delaware's class of 2023 fellows are hosting a guest bartending fundraiser to support Easter Seals of Delaware and Maryland's Eastern Shore. Join the team for happy hour and networking to benefit this great cause. And that's not all. The Leadership Delaware class of 2023 will be battling it out on March 25th and 26th in Easter Seals CAI Volleyball Challenge, which also benefits Easter Seals Delaware. The Volleyball Challenge has 2 locations and 2 dates this year to choose from. That's March 25th at William Penn High School in Newcastle and Sunday, March 26th at Delaware State University. Last year, the Easter Seals volleyball event raised over $133,000. For questions about the events or how you can get involved, simply scan the QR code on your screen. A young harp seal spotted in Rehoboth Beach is being nursed back to health this week. According to the Marine Education Research and Rehabilitation Institute, on February 28th, a concerned beachgoer reported a seal that was rolling around on its back in the sand. MER says this can sometimes be an indication that the seal is actually infested with lice. MER say they assessed the seal as being underweight in addition to his behaviors, so they decided to rescue him immediately. Officials say they took the seal back to MER for treatment and assessment before transporting him back to the National Aquarium that same evening for the remainder of his rehabilitation. If you've been on social media any time over the last 5 years, you've probably seen a video of Wilmington native Troy Hendrickson as his comedic alter ego, Aunt Mary Pat. The beloved, foul-mouthed, chain-smoking character has garnered hundreds of thousands of social media followers and fans across the nation. To the shock of fans, the Cab Calloway graduate announced earlier this year that he's actually retiring the character's live performances, but not before going on a nationwide tour. And before that tour started last week, I had the opportunity to sit down with Troy, his mom, and of course, Aunt Mary Pat herself. The 30-minute exclusive interview airs live on DETV tonight at 8 p.m., and we hope you'll tune in for some laughs. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of DETV News. Be sure to like and follow us across your favorite social media platforms and take a look at our website. That's detvch.com. With DETV News, I'm Matt Ford. Stay well. We'll see you next time.